So I've been feeling kind of bleh lately because of, well, and so I've needed a bit of a pick-me-up. So I turned to one of my favorite comfort games, A Short Hike. And because I don't think enough people know about this game, I thought it'd be a good idea to make a video trying to lay out for you why it would be of interest to you to take a look at if you're trying to design your own game. Hi, I'm Mike, and I play A Short Hike probably a couple times a year. It's a very short game, but the world itself is so charming and cozy to just exist in. It's a good kind of way to reset. But what I want to really focus in on today in this video is the open worldness of the level design and how I think if you are trying to make an open world game or just design your game in general, why you might want to consider making it smaller. But first, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about A Short Hike. If you haven't played it yet, I would highly recommend checking it out. It was developed by Adam Robinson Yu, and the story is about a girl named Claire who's visiting her aunt, who is a ranger at Hawk Peak Provincial Park, and she's waiting for an important phone call, but it turns out that there's no reception in most of the park. The only place she can get cell phone reception is at the top of Hawk Peak, the mountain for which the park is named. So the game is essentially just your trek to get to the top of Hawk Peak. Throughout the game, you're going to encounter a whole bunch of other visitors to the park. You'll be able to climb and glide around. Claire is a bird, which I suppose is important to mention. The game is populated by anthropomorphic animals, which kind of just adds to its charm. As you go, you can find these items called golden feathers, which are basically stamina bars that will allow you to climb further and do multiple jumps in the air. As a bird, you can flap your wings, basically, and get more height, so you can glide further. It's up to you, basically, how you want to approach the park. Wander around, talking to people, helping them or not. Maybe you're just super focused on getting to the top of Hawk Peak. For me, this game takes all of the best parts from Breath of the Wild. Climbing, gliding, and moving around the world were by far my favorite parts of that experience, and A Short Hike makes use of all of those different gameplay elements and condenses it down into a much smaller world. The Short Hike also does a good job of signposting where you are in the world. You can tell where you are in the park based on the color palette of the environment. If it's a bright, summery, sunny environment, you're near the beginning on the sunny side of the mountain. If it's dark and overcast and rainy, you're on the far side of the mountain, away from the sun. And if you're in a snowy region, you're nearing the peak. And having this many environments around the mountain, I think is a great way to make the game visually interesting and is a good way to help players know and remember where they are. So when I call A Short Hike an open world, I think that might be a little bit contentious for some people because most of the time when we're talking about open world games, we think about games like Skyrim or Elden Ring or Assassin's Creed, the latest ones anyway, that have these massive sprawling open world. And I don't think that the size of the world is necessary to be an open world game. What is necessary is the ability to kind of tackle challenges as you want to. If you get stuck on something, can you just wander somewhere else and go try to solve another puzzle? And that freedom to just kind of wander around and explore is the strength of open world games, for me anyway. Where I think a lot of the big open world games fall short is that exploring isn't always rewarded. There's not always something around every corner. And if you have a massively large open world, that's a lot of development hours that you're going to have to put into actually developing that world and designing it and sculpting it and adding all of these things to make it feel like it's lived in. And if you don't put enough time to populating a world with interesting things to see and do, it'll end up feeling either lifeless or repetitive, as you have to keep liberating the same bandit camp over and over again. Because the world of A Short Hike is so small, it's much easier to populate it and make it feel lived in because there's just so much less surface area that you have to cover. And if you're working in a small team, this is going to be super helpful for you because you don't have to spend as much time trying to add things to your massive open world. If you have a small open world, you can devote more resources to making more bespoke encounters or more interesting things that you can run into and hide things in all of those nooks and crannies that you're expecting players to find. So if you're thinking about making an open world game, I would highly suggest that you really consider not just the size of your world, but the density of things to do in the world. And if you're having trouble filling it up to making it feel lived in, maybe consider shrinking it down a bit. And that's it for this video. If you found it useful or entertaining, I've been told that hitting the like button is a great way to help YouTube know to send it out to a wider audience. Let me know in the comments below what some of your favorite comfort games are. I'm curious to know and would love to check out some of the things that you find comforting as well. I have other videos on the channel and YouTube thinks that you'll like this one. And that's it for me for now, so thank you for watching, take care of yourselves, and good luck with your games. I'll see you next time.